Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Excel.um's London. We've got a very special opportunity for you today to meet and have a conversation with Sangeeta Waldron, a very good friend and colleague of mine. Sangeeta's book, Corporate CSR is Not PR, is a fantastic book I can commend to you, and you get your chance today to get a signed copy at the stand just over there, right away after this session, which will finish at 1:45. But first of all, if you could give a warm welcome to Sangeeta Waldron, who'll be talking to us today about her book. Now, the way this format's going to work is, I'm going to start off with a quick introduction to Sangeeta, ask her a quick question about the book, and then I want to see as many hands as possible thrown up to ask her some questions about the book. If you want to know about how to work your CSR strategy, how to work your sustainability strategy, how to intertwine the two, Sangeeta is your lady. So take this opportunity, this rare 30-minute opportunity to pick her brains. Sangeeta, welcome to you today.
Thank you, Ben. And actually, I feel like I've made lots of friends already. I've recognised lots of faces here. So thank you to those of you who've bought the book. And I'm looking forward to getting to know some of you afterwards when you come to the stall. And that's stall S106.
S106, it's about 100 yards sort of in that direction. You will see it because the book is emblazoned with the book and the poster and so on and so forth. Quick bit of housekeeping, when you do ask your question, there's no need to introduce yourself, you can if you wish, but please speak up. You may have noticed we've got the addition of a mic, which is a great crutch. You guys don't have a mic, and I'm probably going to be able to reach you with the mic, so please speak up because of the hum in here is really quite something. I'm going to start with a question for you, Sangeeta.
Go on, Ben.
Your book is very unusual, and it defines PR by something it is not. If CSR is not PR. If CSR is not PR, then what is it? Or rather, what should it be?
Oh, how do I answer that? I think very simply, corporate social responsibility, or we should now call it CSR, is about the relationship an organisation or a business has with its local community that it operates in, and its wider relationship with the planet. And essentially, CSR is about the purpose of an organisation, the values of an organisation. And, a lot of people say, ESGs have replaced CSR. And I would say to you, it's all semantics. ESGs have grown out of corporate social responsibility. And if you, as a business, organisation, small brand, wherever you are in the world, whatever sector you are in the world, if you have implemented your CSR authentically, you are already doing ESGs. You can already prove the impact of your business.
And is it something that should be driven purely by ethics, or is there a commercial imperative to this stuff?
Immersion. Your CSR initiatives or your ESGs need to be baked into the heart of your business strategy. And it has to be top down, right down to your receptionist. It has to be bottom up, right up to your your CEO, sideways, round. Everybody within the organisation needs to be connected, joined up with their CSR thinking. And don't create your CSR initiatives and put them in a drawer and forget about them. Share them, talk about them. And I just quickly want to say, if we go back to, if you can remember, pre-pandemic, go back to 2019. CSR was so misunderstood. It was the poor relations within an organisation. No budget, people stuck it onto comms, saying it would be a great PR story, or they would put it within HR saying it's great team building. And what's happened since the pandemic is, while we've all been sat at home watching how brands perform, what businesses are doing, we have understood that CSR is far more integral to that. It's about value to an organisation. It really, when the whole organisation is singing from one heartbeat almost, it's so, an organisation is really powerful.
And what are the typical business benefits from a good, well-integrated, immersed CSR strategy?
I love the way you say that. So, first of all, being CSR-led means you are profitable. You make money. You know, it's simple as that. You attract talent. You retain employees. You attract investors. And more importantly, you attract customers and you create a loyal customer base. And what you will find is your customers will start talking about what you're doing online. And we're living in a social media world. Everything we're doing is no longer local, it's global. So when your customers are talking about you, they're sharing everything you're doing, why they believe in you, why they're buying from you. And investors also now like to invest in companies that are proven with their CSR initiatives and that they are baked into the business strategy. And I'll just say the reason why is because they're low risk.
Low risk, more investable because they're lower risk, greater value for the company, greater value for their employees, greater value for the customer. It's an all-round win.
What's not to love?
What's not to love?
Yeah.
By the way, for people who've just joined us, I said it's in a slightly unusual format, a little bit discursive. Do throw your hands up at any time. I don't want to leave the questions till the end because we're going to move something through. Throw your hand. The gentleman here, we've got a first question here. Oh, I don't believe it for a minute. Come on, what's your question?
It's got no question. You can heckle. I am allowing heckling.
We've got. This is definitely not a fly swat. This is a definite question from this lady here in the bronze hat.
My question for today, I've heard about ESGs having measurement.
Yes.
However, when it comes to CSR, do you feel that there's ways in which we can measure to see how
So the lady's question, if I heard it correctly, is that people are becoming more aware of ESG being measured and metrics by which we measure ESG. Are there such metrics for CSR by which we can measure the quality of CSR?
Yes, because if your CSR is baked into your business strategy, that means it's part of your finances, it's part of your supply chain. You'll be able to track the measurement that you are making, the impact, whatever your purpose of your business is, you'll be able to track that from beginning to end. It's no different from ESGs. You will have the same kind of goals. If your CSR is baked into your business strategy, it can't be sitting in your comms team. It can't be sitting in your HR team. It's got to be at the heart of your business strategy. And then it's easy to track what you're changing, what you're doing. It's easy to track who you are retaining with talent, who you are attracting with talent. You can see the pipelines throughout the organisation. It's very, very easy to do that. No, the metrics will be the same.
Just so the audience can hear the question, is it possible to be able to track the difference before you have a CSR strategy and then compare it with after you've delivered the CSR strategy?
Yes. Simple, yeah, absolutely. So if you're looking at, what can we look at? If you're looking at staff, I'm sort of stuck in that whole thing about workforce. So if you're looking at who you're recruiting, you can start to track what kind of talent you're starting to recruit. If you're a purpose-led business and you've launched a product, you can see how many customers are engaged with you online. You can track it through your social media. You can track it through your sales. You can track it through the different kinds of relationships you're building for your business.
Thank you very much. This lady here with the glasses.
With the tracking business, CSR,
This is a homespun group
what's
here.
the platform or software?
Yeah, we love the organic solutions here.
Organic,
we may do amend it. If you're tracking CSR, what platforms or software solutions can you use to do it?
Oh, that's a really good question. I mean, different companies use different things. So I wouldn't answer that by software. What I will say, that's a really important element for corporate social responsibility, is an organisation or a business's internal communications network. So if you have a really good intranet, then you should be able to track and use whatever system that suits that organisation. But your internal comms is key. So it could be also through your KPIs. Some organizations do it through that. Different organizations will have different kinds of mechanics, but essentially it will be through your internal comms.
Gentleman here at the front. I might be able to reach you. Let's try. Yes, we can.
And then there's a gentleman there in the corner.
Come to you next, sir.
So the question is it wrong for companies to seek PR for their CSR activities,
Yes.
which are embedded in their business?
Oh, embedded, I've jumped in. Yeah.
I'm drawing your attention to what happened to Shell and BP earlier this year, and the fact that they were asked to rescind their advertising and their communications around going green. So where is the line on what's appropriate and what's greenwashing?
That's a really good question. And right
Everyone hear the
now,
question.
oh, I think that gentleman over there. Did you hear the question? No. So you have to ask.
Gentleman said, if your CSR strategy, if and when your CSR strategy is embedded, is it valid for you to seek PR for it? And where do you draw the line in terms of how much PR you seek?
My bottom line is no. Your CSR should speak for itself. It should be authentic. It needs to be transparent. You're sharing it across social media. Just on the whole BP and Shell, I'll flip it a little bit. HSBC put out a social media. They sent out a tweet in 2020, I think it was, and HSBC invests a lot in in oil and gas companies, so they're not really looking after the planet. And they sent out a tweet asking their social media users, how would you reduce your emissions? And they were attacked, they were in crisis mode. So your CSR has to be authentic. And when you are a big sort of oil and gas company, you really need to be looking at what your values are. And you can do one thing, but do it well and do it authentically. And you don't have to be doing a whole stream of activities. It's just one thing. And there's one thing that we all know, there is no business without the planet. And we have to really look at our relationship.
I'll come to you in a minute, sir. I think there's a gentleman in the back who had a question. Yes. Fair enough. So in which case, I'll take this gentleman here in the blue.
My question.
You can probably reach. Yeah.
My question is that I work with lots of small businesses who have lots of CSR ambitions. They're very authentic. They talk about it all the time, and they don't have any business success because they miss the fundamental problems that they're solving for their clients and think that CSR will take them over the line. So, and I think that creates a lot of, like talking about HSBC isn't very helpful for small business owners. I mean, do you have some case studies of small businesses that use it really well, please?
Absolutely. So just on that, I'll just flip that a little bit. At COP26, governments around the world started to recognise that CSR is not just for the big businesses. They really needed small businesses on board. Otherwise, we're not going to make the change. Secondly, in my book, which I hope you'll buy, I have interviewed different thought leaders from around the world, including small businesses, about how they are using CSR authentically. And can I remember any questions? Yes. There was a small, so breaking into fashion is very difficult. It's very expensive to start a production line. But I met this one young fashion designer, and what she decided to do, she really wanted to break in and make her fashion designs sustainable. And she was a small organisation, a one-man, one-woman band. And what she did was, during the pandemic, because I wrote this book during the pandemic, and I interviewed her during the pandemic, she started to create organic cotton masks for frontline workers. And she's grown her business from that, but she kept that ethos at the heart of her business. And, small businesses, it's not about having a whole raft of values. If you just do one thing well and work with your local community, then your local community will work with you. And I don't know if you were here when I started off in the beginning. corporate social responsibility is the relationship an organisation has within the local community it operates. They are your supporters and they want you to be doing well for the local community. So small businesses really need to start there.
Thank you very much for the question. The lady here in the black and white dress.
Thank you. Hi there, I'm Priya and
Hi,
I work
Priya.
for the Old Vic. So I'm kind of on the other side of CSR where we work with companies and organisations to in some ways help them meet their CSR objectives, implement their strategy and most importantly bring their staff and clients on a journey with them. So in a sort of charitable partnership setup, in your opinion, what are the value additions that charity can bring to an organisation?
Just in case for the people on this side, I probably didn't hear. This lady called Priya, she works for the Old Vic Theatre. So the charitable status, she works with other companies to help them improve their CSR, your suppliers presumably, is that right? Or?
Well,
So clients and suppliers to help them grow. In the charitable sector, what are the key value adds for CSR?
Well, do you know, I used to work for some big charities in the day, and I used to work for some big, we had big corporates coming along and saying, we wanted this celebrity, we want to sell X amount of product, and they would beat the charity, why aren't you delivering on X, Y, and Z? And that's the fundamental where that partnership is not working. And really, as an organisation, as a charitable organisation, you now have the power, because the time is now, to educate your corporate partners about why they need to be authentic with their CSR. Because if you don't start from there, it's just greenwashing. So it's really to get the people that you're collaborating with, the corporates, to understand what their purpose is and why are they aligned with the Old Vic. What's the synergy? Why are they working with you? And find that one thing and then communicate that authentically through all your promotion, all your publicity, whatever you're doing. But it's finding those partners that are aligned with your values. Otherwise, you too will be called out for greenwashing, like some of the museums, some of the galleries that have been recently with BP, etc. And they've actually had to end those relationships.
So make sure your clients and your suppliers are aligned with your values. I'm sure they are in your case, Priya. Do you have any more questions? Gentleman here in the hat.
Yes, CSR track environmental impact of the organization's operations.
Can CSR create?
Track. Organization track.
Track.
Say that again.
Track.
Drag.
Track. T-R-A-C-K. Track.
Track. Yes, sorry, my hearing. Can an organisation track?
Environmental impact of the
Yes.
organization's operations.
Yes, they can. Yes, absolutely.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, so this gentleman here, I think I've understood. Can you track your organisation's CSR initiatives? Can you track it? Yes? And yes, you can track it. There are actually different ways to track it. There are different models out there. There's also now a kind of green FTSE 100, sort of like a stock brokers thing that you can track companies. In France, they have a platform where you can go on, put in the company and actually see the company's green credentials. So that there are things out there to help you do that.
Fantastic. It's interesting. A green FTSE. I like the idea of a green FTSE. This
Yeah.
lady here at the front. You get the microphone because you're very near to me.
Can I know, like, to track these impacts, what is materiality assessment that is being talked about when you do ESG reporting?
Well, it depends. Here's a good one. A lot of organisations now are discovering and realising that diversity and inclusion is also part of corporate social responsibility. So now some organisations are tracking to see how they are authentically recruiting from different backgrounds within their workforce and how they are changing that relationship around the board as well. So that's one way. The other is if you are trying to reduce your carbon emissions. That's one. Are all your board flying? Should they reduce their flying to reduce your carbon emissions? If you're a music venue, how are you making things more sustainable? How are you drafting in power to power up your stages. There's lots of now festivals using off-grid to reduce their carbon emissions. Fashion industry is also using lots of different ways now, authentic ways, to reduce their carbon emissions. So it's what is it you want to reduce, what is it you want to track, it's defining that and then being able to track it.
We've got a question from this gentleman here. I'm going to check the other side of the room first. Any questions this side?
Come on this side, ask a question.
Oh, here we are, the lady right at the back. Now, I will have to come to you, madam, and listen to you, because in no way will anyone hear what you're saying. I'll come back to you next.
I just wanted to check in terms of understanding around CSR and ESG.
Yeah.
What's the relationship between those, and are they seen to be the same thing or something different? It's the only solution.
Great question from the back. We covered it a little bit, but it might be worth exploring a little bit more, is that are ESG and CSR the same thing? And if they are not, what is the relationship between them and what is the difference?
They are the same thing.
They are the same thing.
ESGs have come out of CSR. ESGs are kind of defined as being able to track what your CSR initiatives are. If you're doing your CSR authentically and it's baked into the heart of your business model, you'll be able to track it. It's all just fancy names for the same thing. At the end of the day, it's just about businesses doing better.
So lots of fancy names in business, but they're really talking to the same thing. This gentleman here, and then I'll come back to you, madam. Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to follow up the old Vic question, because there's a lot of consultancies get the whole of the 17 United Nations ESG goals and say, which of these can you win at? And one of the ones they can win at is supporting local community organisations. So then they'll go 100% on that, and all the difficult stuff like measuring their own carbon footprint and that more. So I think that was behind the question: is that legitimate just to focus on 2 or 3 areas as opposed to 17 and win on those?
Yes, my answer is because what we find, everything is connected. SGDs, every single 17 of those SGDs are connected. So if you're doing one correctly, authentically, then you're making a difference, you're making a change. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can see studies coming out of the UN, Harvard Business Review that are all proving. Oh, this gentleman's got another question. but yes, so yes.
So even if the old Vic takes loads of money from Shell?
No, I didn't actually say that. I said you have to rely. No, that's not the answer. Shell has to really define what is it it's doing, and is it really finding a solution. So let me answer this in a different way. When I was writing this book, Bernard Looney came in as the new CEO of BP, and at that time, Bernard Looney said BP is going to start investing and being really committed to renewables, and everyone wanted to see that, and he was going to be on social media, and he started an Instagram account, and he was really sharing what he said were the new values of BP, and that would have been great, but that was all just greenwashing. That didn't happen. They didn't invest in renewables, but if they were committed to that, then yes, the old Vic you could really turn around and say, look, they're doing one thing and they're doing it well, and they're finding a solution. No one's going to get it right all the time, but it's about stop judging others and bring them on board, but do that one thing correctly. You can't not do anything and expect to get away with it.
So make sure that when you're offering a sustainability benefit, you are delivering a sustainability benefit, and then it is actually open to even big companies like Shell to do.
Because we can't do the change without them. We need them to change.
We can't do the change without them, but they must be making the change in order to get to it. We have got one from this side again. The lady in the beige dress. Is it a dress? Right. The beige.
Question regarding carbon offset investments. So there are so many things, limited things that we can do as a person or companies can do. We can't always put a solar panel on top of our roofs.
No.
So can you talk more about the investment we can make, whether it's carbon credits, CC or RECs, renewable energy certification? Or
I can talk yes, I can talk a little bit about it. So just on that, I'm currently writing my third book on climate change, and this is a big topic. So I'm also learning a lot about carbon offsets, and what I've also learned is there is such a thing as carbon greenwashing, where companies will say, we're planting trees, we're doing X, Y, Z, and they're not doing anything. So how can you reduce your own carbon footprint?
How do they go about investing?
Who to choose? So there is I can't remember it off the top of my head, but there is now, what would you call it, like a stock market, like where you can an index, that's the word I'm looking for. There is an index that you can go onto this index. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it will tell you what companies are authentically reducing their carbon emissions right now. And you can search by sector and you can search by company. But there are certain sectors that are really investing in this. One is, believe it or not, fashion is really investing. The music industry is really investing in this. So, and events are really investing. And I'll just say a little bit on that. For the first time, this business show, it's the first time I've been here, has actually got a sustainability section. So that is saying something. It's a step in the right direction.
Probably all got here by public transport as well, which is better than the NEC on the M6. I'm going to repeat this format where we're all jumping up and running around. It gives a bit of energy. We'll recreate it at another meeting. Any more questions over here? This gentleman I know has got one. Have we got any more before we've got 5 minutes left? So I'm going to come to you first, sir, and then you, madam.
I've got a question afterwards.
Well, if we've got time.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. 20 years ago, it was community relations.
Yeah.
Then it became social responsibility. Then it became sustainability. Then it became purpose. Then it became ESG. Are we just playing with semantics? What next?
I absolutely agree with you. It's all semantics. And there's somebody I interviewed in this book, and he's considered one of the greatest change makers in the world, and he's called David Katz. And I had the pleasure of interviewing him, and excuse my language, because what he said, it's all bullshit. And he said, all these are words. You can make up all these words, next year it'll be something else. But basically, all it is, it's about a business. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're located in the world, it's just about doing better. And he used the F word.
Yeah, it's a 15 rating this session anyway, so you can probably use it.
But I mean, I think it is, it's just doing better. Yeah. We want better for the planet, and I keep saying this, there is no business without the planet. Okay. Our resources are limited, and those of you who might be climate skeptics, if you believe in gravity, then I tell you climate change is happening. It's getting warmer.
Better stop talking about what to call it and get on and do it. I think is a good message. We are going to take one more from this lady, and then Sangeeta, you can have a question.
Yeah.
But this lady first.
Last but not the least, I wanted to ask you, there are different reporting frameworks. There are, I would say, 10 plus reporting frameworks. How does the company decide which is the best reporting framework? GRI, CDP, TCFA, so many of them. But how do you select which one is the right one?
I would recommend starting with your values. What is your purpose? Find the purpose of your organization. What is it you want to make a difference to? What is it you want to change? Even if it's that one thing. And then you'll choose the right tracker, the right measurement. But it's to find that purpose. And I say in the book, don't have more than, at the most, 4 values. 4 things you're going to commit to. Why? Because anything more than 4 is not sustainable. You can't deliver on. Even if it's 1, make it the one thing, and then it's easy to choose that framework, that tracker that you want to use. And also, everyone in the organization will be joined up. So it'll be far easier to deliver on than if you think it's just the CEO, or it's just the HR team, or it's just the comms team. It can't work that way. It has to be holistic. And that's why small businesses can deliver on, because they can pivot very quickly and they can implement, and there isn't a big team within a small business. But everyone has to be breathing your CSR initiatives.
Before we get to Sangeeta's question, which I promised, just a reminder that Sangeeta is selling and indeed signing her book 100 yards that way. If you head towards sort of Follow My Arm, you will see a stand emblazoned with this fantastic book. But before we get there, you have about 2 minutes, Sangeeta, I believe.
So my question is, and it could be a question that's going to, I don't know, work against me, but after listening to this a little bit, how many people who haven't yet bought a book will think of buying a book? Oh, gentleman there at the back. Well, I hope you'll come along and talk to me, meet me, find out a bit more about corporate social responsibility. But the main thing is, it's not just about tracking. It's really finding what your authentic value is. Because if you don't find that value, that's when you're in hot water. That's when you're in crisis management. That's when you're greenwashing. So find your value, because even if you don't find the value and the right partners, that's where the old Vic might find themselves. And I love the old Vic.
Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the Sangeeta Waldron.
Thank
A big
you.
round of applause, please.
I also want to say thank you to Ben for doing this session, for jumping up, and also thank you all for joining and asking questions. And for those of you, I hope to see you back at the store.
See you at the stall shortly. Oh, the format's great. It beats that thing with the iPads. We ask a question on the iPad.
I know, it's real eyeballs.
It's real eyeballs.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.